Welcome to In the Moment with Kortia, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. On this Motivational Monday, all right, let's get the blood flowing. Let's get up. Let's stretch. Let's grab that cup of coffee. Let's do what we need to do. And I know some of you out there have already listened to the Sin-Law Spiritual Hour, and your spirits are uplifted. And, hey, now we're going to go ahead and continue to flow with that with In the Moment with Kortia. And look, family, you can call into the radio station with your questions or comments at the local number 318-484-2500 or toll free at 877-464-2500. And look, I'm going to send a shout out and good morning to all of Central Louisiana. That's Natchitoches, Gina, Alexandria at 88.1 FM, Monroe, West Monroe on 98.9 FM, Shreveport, Greenwood on 92.5 FM, St. Joseph, Natchez, Mississippi on 99.3 FM, and Lake Charles on 100.1 FM. And again, good morning to each and every one of you, and definitely excited to be here. And I know some of you right now, you've got kids that are out of school for the Easter holiday. You know, we have the same. And look, definitely we're going to be talking about how we're going to actually show you how to use that as a positive. Also, you might say, well, what are you talking about? Today we're going to be talking about how to stop having a negative mindset. Because, hey, let's just be real with it. I know some of you, when the kids actually gave you, say, hey, we're going to be out of school this week, the first thing that a lot of parents were like, oh, my goodness, okay, so what are we going to do? You know, what are we going to do to go ahead and preoccupy the kids? You know, what are we going to do to make sure that they're actually taken care of? And then, you know, the different food bill and so on and so forth. But look, we're going to get rid of that negative mindset, to get rid of those negatives that start with you on this Motivational Monday. And continue to follow us all through our social media, family, throughout every aspect of it at In the Moment with KortiaKuzan.com. And, of course, go to our website, In the Moment with KortiaKuzan.com. Look, excited. And like I said, talking about how to stop a negative mindset. And, you know, one of the main things that we really want to talk about jumping into this is this, okay? When a person has a negative mindset, okay, what generally happens when someone has a negative mindset? Think about yourself if you've been in that area of having a negative mindset. And I would have to say, especially for me, when I used to go through my bout with negativity, was that, you know, not to continually, you know, just dwell on negative thoughts. I mean, it just seems like so simplistic, but it's one of the main things that we tend to do. And sometimes we really don't realize that we are dwelling on negative thoughts. And I just want to just announce that my beautiful wife on this Motivational Monday, Jennifer Kuzan, is on the microphone.
Good morning, everyone.
Amen, amen.
It's Monday.
You know something? That's my natural, spiritual, and emotional coffee right there. Yep, can pep you right on up on a Motivational Monday.
Can I have some of that coffee?
Yeah, here I am. I wish you want a double shot.
I need like a triple shot this
morning.
morning.
Come on, talk to me now. I'm really motivated now on Motivational Monday. All right. But really, have you ever, you know, thought about it that a lot of times that we get negative or we get down in the dumps, you know, about, you know, just about having a negative thought come on me. I mean, I'm reminded that our pastor, he said just one day, he just felt like depression or negativity was coming on him.
Yes, he did.
And, you know, he really didn't know about it. And it was just like something that just needed to be done at that point in time. And I mean, sometimes we get to the point to where we have a negative thought, and what generally ends up happening, we want to start feeling sorry for ourselves for some strange reason. It's just like, you know, you could have this real high thing going on in your life. You feel like you're on top of the world, and then the enemy tries to throw you a curveball with this one negative thought.
That's right.
And then what ends up happening? A lot of times with us, because of all the good things that have been happening, we tend to grab that negative thought and we start to just let it marinate.
We take it for our own.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of like you've got this buffet, not buffet, but you've got this high ticket meal in front of you on a plate, right? Mm-hmm. And you've got like the the nice steak on the side. You know, you've got the vegetables, the buttery baked potato and everything.
Come on, let's keep on going.
I'm talking my wife's language right now. And then, you know, Satan wants to try to throw to you some knockoff brand, you know, Cheetos or something like that and say, here, get this. Indeed. And then, you know, a lot of us, hey, let me go ahead and eat these Cheetos first before we take what God has in front of us. And we know it's bad for us. We know that we shouldn't have that in front of us, but what we tend to go ahead and dwell on that. And isn't it something how he takes those things, and as we meditate on those thoughts, they become more and more powerful. It's just like it's the main force that's in our life. And I've seen a lot of individuals, and, you know, I've had the opportunity, and it's on a weekly basis that I talk to people, and, you know, they have some thoughts that come into their minds, and God's doing so many great things in their lives, but it kind of goes back to almost like that, what is that 80-20 rule? How you just can't see the 80% of the things that's going well in your life, but you kind of focus on that 20%.
Magnify the 20%.
Exactly. And it just seems like that small 20% of the things that may, quote unquote, be going wrong or that may be negative in your life. I mean, it just takes, you know, it just jumps out at the head of your life to where it's just that, you know, it's all that I have to focus on is that negativity. But I think, like I said, it deals with a lot with perspective as well.
Yes.
And, you know, so many of us have been, I'm just going to talk about myself. I mean, you literally in my household.
Let's talk about you.
Yeah, let's talk about me. I mean, really, I don't know about some of you. I mean, maybe you did. But, you know, when it came to something and you always wanted to get ahead or say, hey, what about doing this? And it was always followed up with some type of negative response, you know, one of those get real comments.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I was raised, to where you always thought you were going to have to go through. I mean, really, that's how I thought life was going to be, that you were always going to have to struggle, that you was always going to have to go through, that, you know, you are basically going to have to break your back to get ahead in life.
Work.
You know, I've said before that, you know, the way I was raised, you get a job, hey, you don't have ends meet, you get another job, you still struggle, get another job, you know. But, you know, that's just how, personally, myself, I was brought up. And I know the work ethic or whatever of my wife, and then, of course, with her mom used to work crazy hours. Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking just working, getting
13,
up work
14 hours a day.
And then sometimes I think you had told me working 16 hours a day just to get things done. Yes. Yeah. But, you know, it was all about that thing about to get ahead in life, you have to work more. But then, you know, the negative, it wasn't necessarily the negative thoughts that came from that, but it was the negative consequences that came from that.
Lots of negative consequences.
Lots of things happening with your body. Yeah. Emotional breakdown. Exhaustion, connection with your family, different health conditions that come from it. It's just really, really evident. And, you know, God actually had me in that phase. I can definitely say when I first got saved, I believe it was, to where going and putting myself out in the negative thoughts, to where I thought that my answer for everything, and, you know, my wife actually said to you was, hey, as long as I'm taking care of, you know, the finances or whatever that's coming in the household, you know, that's all good. But, you know, even in there,
back to the older mindset, you know, that we were raised under.
Right. You know, because I'm just, like I said, my grandfather, the men in my family told me that, you know, as long as you had the money coming in, you know, you were married, your wife just needs to fall in line.
That's exactly how my grandparents were.
Right. So we got it from both sides. But, you know, there's a lot that's missing in that. And some of you right now, all right, I'm just touching you right now, and God's letting you know right now in your moment that, you know, a lot of us right now in this new season, this new harvest season that we're in, we're not going to be able to receive what he has in store for us, because just like Scripture said, we're trying to take the fullness of what he wants to pour into us, but we're trying to come into that thing with those old wine skins, okay? Yeah. Trying to go ahead and take the bounty of a harvest and receive it in something that's not even going to be able to even hold it. Okay. Right. And, you know, those old wineskins, well, guess what? It's us. Okay. We can have that negative mindset that allows us to be those old wineskins. You know, as Scripture lets us know, when we try to put new wine in the old wineskins, then they're going to burst. I mean, we just really cannot do that. I mean, it's really going to take a definite change from each and every one of us. But what? It has to be a conscious decision.
That's right.
That we need to make. And we need to actually ignore the negative flow that we have in our lives, okay? The negative thought processes, the negative sentiments that we make.
Right.
You know, and I'm sure you've been there, and I've seen you there, and I've seen you with the facial expression to where you've talked to someone, and the same way with me, you've tried to speak to someone, and, you know, you're trying to encourage them, but each and every time you say something, here comes a negative comment.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can say, well, sister, you're beautiful. Well, you know, I really don't agree with that because, you know, I got up and my clothing didn't match, you know, my hair or something. I mean, it's crazy the things people say. But what's really evident is this. You know, God's letting you know right in your moment exactly how he wants to pour into you right now. Get out of those old wineskins, which is our mental capacity, and look, allow him to show you exactly where you need to tweak. And when we come back from break, we're going to get you right back into your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan on this Motivational Monday. And we're talking about how to stop having a negative mindset. And, you know, before we went to the break, we were talking about, you know, not actually dwelling on the negative thoughts. And, you know, I also said that kids are out for the Easter holiday on this week, and you can actually take that, instead of thinking of it in a negative sense, take it as a positive sense. One, you know, kids aren't going to have all of that homework to where you're not going to have to rush, you know, if you're at work to, you know, basically try to make time to get everything done and, you know, try to help them out. I mean, it could be a time, you know, to actually rekindle your relationship and everything with your kids, because just let's just be real. I mean, so many times we get so caught up and we're so busy that, you know, when it comes time to spending time with our kids, sometimes, you know, we don't realize it, but it may be some level of frustration just because we're at the point of coming from work or doing what we need to do, and we want to unwind. So when our kids come up to us and they want to spend time with us, I mean, it's like we almost put up the shield or the armor, trying to just say, okay, look, take a step back, just get back. Yeah, just need, guilty. Hey, we're guilty. Okay, we're guilty of that. Okay, we're not going to say anything that we don't go through ourselves or that we have not even been through. But, you know, this can be that time of actually, you know, just building your bond even closer with your kids or whoever on this week. And I'm not just saying just let it be this week. I mean, you really have to be intentional about that.
Let this week be the starting point.
Yeah, that exactly like my wife said. This could be a great starting point if you have been lacking in that area. But you have to be intentional about looking for those moments. And I mean, it's not going to be to where each and every day you're going to have hours on hours to spend time with your kids, but take every moment that's available to you. And, you know, that's how you can actually use this week to help you if you've been having a negative type of mindset or negative thoughts when it comes to spending time with your kids. And then, you know, when it comes to, you know, stopping that negative mindset, I mean, have you ever asked yourself this, okay? Do you actually want to be happy, you know, or do you actually just want to stay miserable? I mean, it sounds really funny, but it really is just that simple. Do you want to be happy? Do you want to get out of that negative mindset? And I know what is this, 2019, so I'm going to say about 3-4 years ago, I remember we actually went up and we had prayer at the altar, and I remember what your prayer was about having joy or whatever come back into my life, because I was struggling. I was really, really struggling.
That was the case.
And, you know, it was like, you know, and God had revealed to me that literally everything that I was doing, not some things, everything that I was doing, it was basically a going through the motions type, you know, process. And the thing with that is that, you know, I looked at it and I'm like, wow, okay, I'm at this job. I didn't really want this job, but look, I'm going through the motions because I just need this job to have money coming in. You know, I'm going through and it like reverberated to so many different things. But then it came to me at how the enemy was just using every single thing that I chose, and I'm saying that I chose not to find any kind of joy or happiness in, and he was just magnifying this thing, you know, he was just feeding me every thought you can possibly think of, and I was just grabbing hold of it. But you might say, well, okay, that happens every so often. Well, it doesn't have to happen every so often. And the more he was giving me and the more I was feeding, it just didn't translate to like my job, my family. I mean, it was like losing sleep. I mean, I started having physical conditions from this, chest pains, felt like I was almost having a heart attack. All types of things started manifesting, you know, in every aspect of my life, to where even where it felt like, I didn't have the, joy to actually serve as far as like in ministry, even with that, to where I was just about to throw up hands in that. But it was all about me making a choice of whether I wanted to be happy or miserable. And when I finally decided, something, I'm not going to deal with this anymore, it was amazing. And how God just showed me that in me choosing to be miserable, how I, not the enemy, but I had this fog or this wall that I had put up that stopped me from seeing the direction that he wanted me to actually go into.
Right.
And, we actually need to realize that a negative mindset is a choice. It really, really is. No matter what people say, it is a choice. It is a straight out choice that we make, okay? To not go into what God has in store for us. No matter what you say of how many people are coming at you, no matter how you say situations, no matter how you say about job, no matter what excuse, okay, you try to use, it is still going to be a choice of whether you're going to go forward or not. That's right. And the thing is that in choosing to be unhappy, it's kind of like, I'm gonna just say it like it is. It's almost like when you choose to be unhappy and continually choose to be unhappy, well, and it's going to be this statement I'm going to make is really going to hit home. You almost classify yourself as being a type of infection to people that try to be happy. It's like the Bible says, a little leaveneth the whole lump. And if you're always negative, if you're always unhappy, and you try to get around, you get in the crowd with people that are happy.
Misery loves company.
Oh, there you go. That's exactly it.
Misery loves company.
And you try to gravitate towards an individual or a group that's going to validate your misery.
Your misery, your opinion, your mindset. You gravitate towards those people because they justify you being miserable.
Exactly. And it's funny. I heard one preacher said that, God is the God of the breakthrough and this and that. But he was just like, when he was coming up in church, he was like, man, people always talking about that. But when it got to a testimony service, they were talking about God is this and that. But then they focused on how Satan was at their house over the weekend. And then he said, well, the next couple got up and said, well, Satan may have been at your house, but he was at my house more so this weekend. And he said it was like they kept talking about how bad their experiences were. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, well, I didn't get it. How was God in what they were saying, but the whole time they were glorifying the enemy? And that's how a lot of people with negative mindsets are. They get around individuals that have the same type of mindset that they have, and what they do is they get in a tit for tat of who had the worst experience.
That's right.
And it's something, and like I said, a lot of you probably think I'm just throwing this out there, but I tell you what, just because like I said, I came from that background and I've been around a lot of people like that in my life, to where it's amazing at when you start talking about, let me tell you about what happened with this. I can remember in my early 20s, hit my 30s, ran into a lot of people that used to play football. And then, I could have went here, but y'all blew out my leg. And I was like, yeah, I broke my kneecap. We did like this and it went to the bottom of my leg. Yeah, but I hurt my shoulder. I'm like, well, yeah, I dislocated both of my shoulders, and you go back and forth, literally trying to outdo each other.
In how bad your
experiences are. But the next time negativity actually attacks you, you need to, at that particular moment, see it as an opportunity to finally make that choice to be actually happy or depressed. And just like my wife said, misery definitely loves company. And God's just always trying to tug at you to get you in the right direction. I mean, it's almost like, you ever been around someone and you try to let them know exactly what it was to actually help them along the next step of where they need to get to go into, being that positive agent of change. But then just because they've been in negativity so much so, it's like, that's all they know. It's like you telling them something great about themselves, or God lets you put something in your spirit to go ahead and tell them, and they look at you just like if you're studying for this big test and you just can't grasp anything that's coming on, and they're looking at you like, I can't even conceive what you're trying to tell me. It's just like I'm lost in the thought of you just saying, that I'm able to overcome these things. And that's why You know, my wife will tell you a lot of the times I tell people, you know, did you actually hear what's coming out of your mouth? Because a lot of us have the answers to our individual problems as we speak them out of our mouths.
Right.
I mean, these things are locked away in our spirit, man, that's just trying to break these shackles of this negative, you know, mindset and everything else that's on us. But we don't want to hear what maybe people say from the outside. And definitely God has what we need already locked inside of that seed of greatness that we're always talking about, okay? Our solutions are there. But it's a matter of if we're not willing to actually utilize those solutions, then guess what? We're always going to feel stuck. We're always going to feel depressed. We're always going to think that, you know, we're never going to get ahead in life. But what's God telling you right now in your moment? What's God telling you to actually show you that you are more than what you think you are? And look, when we come back from break, we're going to get right back into this, but stay in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan, Motivational Monday. And now that we're all up and we're all about, look, as you're getting in your cars and you're driving to work, if you haven't already started, let's get on out there and let's keep that positive mindset. Because why? We're talking about how to stop having a negative mindset. And definitely, as we started out, we were talking about not dwelling on your negative thoughts and also choosing to be happy instead of, you know, being miserable. And then, you know, we want to, during this process, let's be intentional about actually surrounding ourselves with positive people, okay? Before the break, my wife talked about misery-loving company. I mean, why not allow ourselves to gravitate towards people that really go, you know, have that exterior happiness, that internal joy? Because, you know, a lot of us, we just, in the beginning, we kind of get turned off by people that just seem to be like overly happy, you know, almost like, what's wrong with these people? I mean, did someone slip them something? I mean, did someone put something in their coffee? I mean, no one can be, you know, that happy through the day. But, you know, it's just true to think of where they actually have chosen to be that way. And, you know, what I've actually realized that watching a lot of people that are like that, and, you know, and how God's definitely been able to change our lives around. And like I said, by far, we haven't arrived. Okay. It's still a process with us.
That's for real.
Okay. But when you see individuals that are like that, you just see how people just start to gravitate to them. You see opportunities that open up to them. You
Right.
see at how, you know, people, for whatever reason, even if they may not be as joyful as they are, they tend to do more for those particular individuals, you know. But it's all about, you know, them being positive. And I have a quote for you from Oprah Winfrey, and she says, surround yourself with only people who are going to lift you higher. I mean, that's really powerful. It's very simple, but it's very powerful. I mean, why is it that it seems like, as my wife said, we tend to gravitate towards those that want to, well, touch and agree with us in our misery, in our negative mindsets? And it's like we kind of shy away a lot of times from people that will actually be able to help uplift us. And, you know, I thank God that you're listening right now and you're taking this to heart. And you're saying, okay, Lord, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. You know, you got me right now in my moment. Maybe, you know, a lot of things that you want to give to me have been, you know, put on delay just because, you know, I don't have the mindset to actually receive. I don't have the mindset to actually conceive and believe and let those things go down on the inside of me. Because, look, even Jesus knew that he had to get through the mental barriers of an individual before he can get to their heart condition.
That's
okay?
Right.
Because, look, it doesn't do any good. Okay, and I'm just going to put it right now in a small sense. It doesn't do any good for God to say, all right, that your relationship with your kids or your marriage or you starting a business, it's going to happen. It's going to get better wherever you're at right now. Okay, it doesn't do any good for God to tell you you're going to get healthier in your body if you're not able to actually receive those thoughts in your mind. Because if you're not able to receive those thoughts in your mind, then guess what? You're going to lock up and close the doorway off to God actually igniting that seed of greatness that's what? Inside of your heart, okay? So surround yourself with positive people. And, you know, sometimes it just may take that of you being around positive people so much so that it's almost like jumping into a swimming pool. You've got to, as they say, if you want to learn a language in a country and you've got to do it quick, you need to just immerse yourself in that country, okay? Just what all you have to do. Yeah, well, in that country to learn to be taught that language. I mean, I think that's how some of the I've read with the government, the way when they want their people to pick up on the language really quickly, they have them get immersed in that culture to where they have them around people that don't know anything but that particular language. Well, if you want to get immersed and get a change as far as like in your life, you need to be around people that are positive. That's all they're going to talk about, positive. Do things that are positive. Show you how to change things in your life to be positive, okay? And a lot of us, like we say, it does take work to, oh, there it is. There it is again.
There, does that dirty four-letter word.
That dirty four-letter word. It does take work at times to actually be positive. But what? It's beneficial, okay? It's very, very beneficial to you. And then as far as like along this process, that a lot of us now, and I'm just going to say that because it's something that we've done from children all the way up to adulthood, to where we're in this actual training phase, some of us in our lives, to where we just expect to receive negativity from other individuals in this life, okay? To where if someone says something negative to us, we think, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and accept it, okay? And, it's a lot, whether you're too skinny, whether you're, what people would say too skinny, whether you're overweight, whether you don't wear the same type of clothing someone is, whether you may not have the degree of being able to speak like some other individuals, whatever it may be. And if someone says something negative to you, I would say it probably goes along a track record of people saying things negative to you, during the course of your whole life. You just take that as, okay, well, that's just a normal. That's just my life, okay? People just say these negative things about me, but just like in you choosing to be positive or choosing to be negative, you can choose to accept the negativity.
Right.
Now, in choosing to accept the negativity, you can also choose to let it be, well, like we said, that foundation, okay, that mortar, that slime, whatever you want to call it, to actually start putting those foundation stones together to actually start uplifting you and getting you to go higher. It's like everything is a choice. I mean, it's amazing to me at how, being children of God, everything that we have is a choice. And, caught this revelation over the last 2 weeks that, I'm just sitting there. You know how you hear something so long and then all of a sudden you get to that one day, just how we've been sharing.
When you really hear it?
When you really hear it, to where the switch just like, and I'm like, really?
Why did I never think of that before?
And you hear it all the time. That so many of us, we're saying, we pray to God and we ask God, Lord, open the doorway for this. Lord, I need provision for that. Lord, need wisdom or whatever in this area. And then all of a sudden you're sitting there, and when you actually is still enough to, what a lot of us fall short on, and like I said, I do, and like I said, I can speak for me, and I'm sure my wife would say for her, that when we sit there and we ask God and we spend that one-on-one quality time with the Lord, and then all of a sudden questions that we've asked, it just become a revelation, just the heavens open, come to us, and it's like God, and it's like it's always been there. It's like everything that we've ever asked God for to do in our life has just always been there. But just because we were so focused that it was going to be made manifest in some other type way, or we had this negative mindset about something to where it just was like blocked. And I mean, it's almost like the entire, what can I say, defensive line of angels, coming against your opposition of negativity, trying to push against that line. But because you had that negativity, it was so strong until you were just like, wow, okay, I see the crack. I see where they can just come in.
Right.
He couldn't give you exactly what he wanted to give you. But that's not accepting negativity from other people, all right? And then, we really have to let go of our thoughts. When we finally make that decision, and personally, I still go through this, and like I said, I don't know if you go through this.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes you can be going. Look, my wife is like, she's giving me like time with that one love type. I know exactly what it is. Sometimes you can break the cycle of having some negative thoughts, but then all of a sudden, what ends up happening? You're sitting there, and it just seems like that negative thought would just try to weasel its way right back into your mindset.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, how you doing? We haven't talked in a while. Hey, let's go ahead and fellowship.
That's never happened to me.
But it does happen.
Yes.
But then
it does.
Yeah, it's like, you go back to say if God delivered you and myself, delivered you from alcohol, okay? And then all of a sudden you just have that one person you used to run the streets with years ago, and they just happen to pop up, or whatever your thing was, it just pop up in your life. And then you start talking with these people, and then all of a sudden they start to talk about things that get you to start reminiscing.
Oh, that reminiscing.
Reminiscing. You know, that old mindset gets you to slide into it.
Yeah.
And the enemy is so strategic about this, gets you to slide into that old mindset, just lays it out, and how friendships and this and that and what happened to this. And then lo and behold, before you think about it, you may have the taste of alcohol or something in your mouth before you even get the can of beer or whatever it is in your hand, okay? But what happens? Unless you really realize about what's happened, what's going on, and how strategic those things are, the enemy can actually take you out of the moment of where God is allowing you to grow up and be a positive agent of change and get you into that mode of, as we call, that backslidden state. But look, I know you're listening. I know you're hearing. I know what God's doing in your life right now. And on this Motivational Monday, I know he's letting you know right now how right now that negative mindset has to go. So look, stay in your moment. When we come back on this final portion of the break, God's really going to do something in your life. Stay in that moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia, Kuzan. Motivational Monday. We're bringing it down and we're knocking down those negative mindsets. How to stop having a negative mindset. Hey, we're going to stop starting our weeks this way. We're definitely going to go ahead. And like I said, we're going to break it down because what? We're giving you the necessary steps to actually get out of a negative mindset. But I'm going to say not only a negative mindset, but not having a negative type of life. And, to really get out of those, negative thoughts, to, let go of those thoughts. The chief way that I can say for you to actually do that is to actually, prayer and meditation. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
Quieting your mind.
Yes. I mean, it's just amazing. And, I love how, our spiritual mother, she just gave us this revelation. And I can't say about my wife, but it's helped me so many times over the years that when you just can't pray, when there's nothing else you can say.
Lord.
And if you can't say, Lord, no, look, even that wasn't getting to me. I always just kept saying, she said, just say Jesus. Just kept saying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. She said, until you get a breakthrough, keep repeating Jesus over and over and over and over again. And I mean, it's just really, really awesome at how just saying the name of Jesus can just provide a release for you. I mean, and you say, well, that's just too simple. See, that's the problem with us nowadays as people. The things of God, they're really, really simple. But for whatever reason, we tend to want to complicate things. And, anytime that we're in any kind of trouble, Bible lets us know if you're reading your word and you know your word, and I'm not putting anybody down, but it's calling on the name of the Lord. So what would that be? Jesus, okay?
That's right.
And it breaks those thoughts that we're having. But look, we have to actually, when God is helping us to break our thoughts, our negative mindsets, why not show love to someone and help them to get out of that situation that you're in, all right? Why is it human nature to what someone that's close to you, someone that you're associated with, someone that you work with, they could have done 1,000 things the right way, but then they do one thing that's wrong, and what ends up happening? Human nature, you're going to gravitate towards that one negative thing.
The one
negative thing. And people are going to go ahead and really try to, edify that one negative thing. See, and this is and my wife talks about my directness, but see, this is where I definitely say this is definitely one of the areas
Who
I really
would call you direct?
Yeah.
Direct.
Look, you got to admit, in this area, this is one area that I really excel in. And when someone brings something negative to me about another individual, I am quick to go ahead and say, oh, okay, well, let's go talk to him about it. Let's go ahead and talk to him about it. You would believe at how when you cut that negativity off right there, like they say, cut the head off the snake. When you go ahead and stop that negativity right there, how it just stops all these, ripple effects that actually happen from that. Because unfortunately, like I said, some people I've spoken to, when I used to work in the corporate structure, and how they were like, I'm thinking they're best friends with this particular individual because, they're buddying, they're always there, lunchtime, but one bad thing or something happened, and then they want to tell the world about this one negative thing that's happened in this person's life, okay? And just really give all types of slants and different, perspectives and everything on that. And one of the greatest breakthroughs that I can definitely say my wife had, and I had after she gave it to me, because it just really brought things into focus, is that if you have not, and like I said, not trying to promote, but definitely going to put it out there just because it'll be a blessing to you, it's that book by Joyce Meyer when it came to negative mindsets. Okay,
Battlefield of the Mind.
Battlefield of the Mind. Oh my Lord! That book right there, it just showed you every kind of way that Satan used your mind, you used your mind, other people use your mind, manipulation, all of these different things. It was just like,
and it's not just for adults; they have one for teens.
Yes,
as well.
Yes, exactly, and that's really good. See, a lot of us think that as adults that we're the ones going through these negative mindsets. Okay, but if you haven't realized it, is that kids nowadays, they go through so many, negative things that they deal with. All right. Just like right now in central Louisiana, whether you realize it or not, and it goes right along with this because of the negativity that goes around some of our kids. I mean, a lot of them are dealing with bullying. A lot of them right now are going through, a lot of kids are, committing suicide, all of these different things. And I mean, it blew my mind just totally when the greatest level of suicide goes between the ages of 10 to 14. Did you hear me? 10 to 14 in central Louisiana, specifically in the Voiles Parish, okay? But it's with the negativity that's heaped upon, a lot of these children. But if you had an outlet to show them how to deal with negativity, if you're not sure how to deal with it, okay? If you're not sure how to go in God's word and actually search this out, that book will actually be a blessing unto you, because like my wife said, there's a version for teenagers and then there's a version also for adults. And I mean, it's just really, really powerful, okay?
It's a very good book.
And it definitely shows how you're living in love and helping those particular individuals to actually get out of that bondage that they may be in. And look, don't just sit around doing nothing, all right? Really, don't just sit around there and, doing anything. I mean, how many times have you seen someone and it seems like, okay, they're there, but they're not there? It's because they look like they're actually possibly listening to you or watching television or maybe supposed to be in a conversation, but they're somewhere totally different. Okay, I'm not talking about just from maybe being tired or exhausted. My wife's raising her hand. Being tired or being exhausted. But so many people today are trapped into a negative, stressful situation, and it's like they're running these continuous scenarios out in their minds, trying to figure this stuff out. Okay.
Yeah.
And for some of you wives out there that are listening, when you're trying to talk to your husbands and it just seems like your husband just isn't being receptive to you, that's what he's doing, okay? I'm just going to let you know now. It's not that he's trying to shut you out. He's trying to figure it out, okay, in his mind, because with a guy, we're trying to figure these things out first. And if we can't figure something out to be able to share with you, I mean, it really, because we're so hardwired to be providers, it goes to every area of our lives to where, it doesn't come to us first and foremost, well, maybe if we talk about these things with our wives, maybe we can come up with a solution or whatever together. That's not the first thing that we're going to think of. And look, some of you wives just got set free right there in your moment. And some of you husbands out there, for me just putting it out there, some of you just had an open door to actually strengthen your marriages, okay? But that's another tidbit and another topic for another day. But look, it's actually about not sitting around and, to, what is the expression, stewing in your misery, to actually just allow these things to just bombard you. But, bombard. Okay, bombard. Hey, we can get a little bombarding or a little bombarding or whatever, too. However you're going to go ahead and receive it,
You almost sounded like my grandmother.
Yeah, look at that.
Her English accent.
But then, we need to get up, okay? Just get up and do something constructive. I mean, I don't care if you get up and you go walk around your house in circles. And like I said, if you can only do anything but just say, Jesus, 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 do something. Don't just stay there, okay? Don't try to seek out some television program that has nothing but negativity and how people are being treated, abused, and misused. Do something positive that's going to actually help you to get out of that negative mindset, okay?
I heard a preacher say once, this was a long time ago.
Here we go.
This is back in Mississippi. If you don't do anything in a day, why are you laughing?
I remember now.
Get up and just brush your hair.
Look.
If there's not one other thing that you can get up and do in one day, get up and brush your hair.
That's it. That's it. Do something that you're going to see as, look, I accomplished something in my day. There's something that I can hold on to as a positive.
Exactly.
And, it seems like funny. It seems small. Getting up, brushing hair. Getting up, brushing teeth. Get out the bed, period. Okay? But do something. But the thing is, take that as the first step in getting out of a negative mindset, getting out of a negative lifestyle. Because what? God doesn't want you to be in that, because it's just going to send, like I said, reverberations, have the ripple effect that just touches you in just every single area of your life.
That's
but
right.
The biggest thing, and right before we get on out the door, the biggest thing is this: all negativity, all deep-rooted negativity that you're allowing to hold on the inside of you is going to be rooted to what? Your low self-esteem, how you see yourself. It's rooted to that, and because the enemy is going to play on it, people are going to play on it. People that are associated with you are going to play on it. And guess what? You're the one that's playing on it yourself, because you're trying to give life to it. Look, God showed you on this day how to stop having a negative mindset. He's allowed you to see exactly what's been holding you back from capitalizing in your moment. And he's showing you right now at how you're going to be able to carry over tomorrow when we get into Terrific Tuesday. So look, take this, grow from this, and we'll see you next time on tomorrow. Take care and God bless.